We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Lamed Amid Aleph and Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 130a. And the previous Amid, the Gemara said that the halacha is Toch Kedei Dibur is Kedibur Dami, with the exception of Avodah Zara, Vikidushin, and Kiddushin. Kiddushin is also an exception, and the Rashbam explains Vikidushin. Shem Kidesh Isha B'fnei Edim. If a person is Mekadesh a woman, he betroths a woman in front of witnesses. V'chazar v'yamar b'soch Kedei Dibur lahavi matana v'lo lahavi Kiddushin. And then he says within a few seconds that he doesn't want the money to be for Kiddushin, rather he wants it to be for a matana, for a gift. Ein shomin lo, we do not listen to him. Umekudeshes ve'ein umekudeshes, we say that she is considered betrothed but not betrothed, meaning we're strict in all directions. V'chumra derabbanan, this is a chumra of the rabbanan, misham laz mamzerus im tinase la'achar below get. We're afraid that if she marries somebody else without a get, because we don't consider it to be a kiddushin, then rumors will come that the children are mamzerim, and that's why we are strict in this situation. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Ha'omer ish ploni yirasheni b'makom sheyesh bas. If a person says so-and-so should inherit me in a situation where there is a daughter who can inherit, or biti tirasheni, or my daughter should inherit me, b'makom sheyesh ben, in a situation where there's a son who can inherit, lo amar klum, he has not said anything, shehisnal mashakasa b'torah, because he's made a tanai against that which is written in the Torah. If there's a daughter, the daughter should inherit, not some stranger. If there's a son, the son should inherit and not the daughter. And the Mishnah continues, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, Omer, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says, Im Omer al Misha roi liyarsho, if he says this about somebody who is fit to inherit him. Now the simple explanation of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka is, let's say you have one son among many sons, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says that one son should get the entire inheritance. So then Devar of Kayam, and then that is effective, because that's someone who was supposed to inherit, and now the father is simply saying that this son should inherit more than the allotted portion that he should have gotten. But if a person says about somebody who is not fit to inherit him that he should inherit, so ain devar of kayam, and so there his words are not going to be fulfilled. And the Gemara says, Taimud da'acher b'makom bas uvas b'makom bein. Going in the Tanakama, it sounds like the Tanakama is saying that the reason why it's not effective is because it's a stranger and there's a daughter who should be inheriting, or it's a daughter and there's a son who should be inheriting. Ha ben bein habanim. It sounds like the Tanakama would say one son, let's say, among many sons, and you're redirecting the entire Yerusha or more of the Yerusha that he should be getting to him. Ubas bein habanis, or let's say you have one daughter among many daughters. Let's say there are no sons, there's only daughters, and the person wants to give all of his inheritance to one daughter among many daughters. Devar of Kayam, and it sounds like the Tanakama would say that is effective, meaning the only reason it's not effective is because it's a daughter where there is a son, or let's say it's a situation of a stranger where there's a daughter. But the problem is, if the Tanakama is saying that by Ben bein habanim and Bas bein habanos you can give, let's say, the entire Yerusha to that son or to that daughter, but Ema Seifa, let's look at the end of the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says, Im Amar al Misha roi liyarsho devar of Kayam, and if he says it about somebody who's fit to inherit him, then his words are fulfilled. Hainu Tanakama, that would be exactly the same as the Tanakama. It would emerge that Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka and the Tanakama essentially agree. Now, if you're going to say that Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, he would go so far as to say that even if you would redirect the Yerusha to a stranger when there's a daughter, or even if you would redirect the Yerusha to a daughter when there's a son, he would even say over there it's effective. But we learned in a brisa not like that. Rabbi Yishmael ben Noshel, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer, Rabbi Yishmael, the son of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, says, Lo nechleku abba v'chachamim alacher b'makom basu vas b'makom ben. My father and the Chachamim do not argue in a situation where it's a stranger and there's a daughter, or if it's a daughter and there's a son. Shalom amar klum, then the person hasn't said anything, it's not effective. Alman nechleku, what do they argue about? Al ben bein habanim ubas bein habanis, they're arguing if there's a son among sons, if there's a daughter among daughters. Sha'aba omer yirash, that my father says he will be able to inherit. V'chachamim omer lo yirash, and the Chachamim say he will not be able to inherit. And so the Gemara says, if you want, I could say the following answer. From the fact that Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, he is saying that the machlokas is in this particular scenario, and that they don't argue in a situation of Acher b'makom bas and Bas b'makom ben. Mechlal the Tanakama savar nechleku, that implies that the Tanakama of that brisa disagrees with Rabbi Shmuel, and he holds no, that's exactly where they argue. And in that and in that way, you can answer the Mishnah. The Mishnah is saying that there's a machlokas in a situation where you have a Bas b'makom ben ben, or let's say an acher b'makom bas, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka would say it's effective, and the Tanakam of our Mishnah would say it's not effective. Meaning the Tanakam of our Mishnah follows not Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, but rather follows the Tanakama of that brisa in terms of the Tanakama's version of the machlokas between the Rabbanan and Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. If you want, I could say a second answer. Kulei de Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. It could be that the entire Mishnah is actually Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, meaning our Mishnah. It's not a machlokas at all in our Mishnah. The whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. And there are words missing from the Mishnah, and you should read it as follows: Ha'omer ish ploni yirasheni. If somebody says so and so, a stranger should inherit me, but makom sheyesh bas, in a situation where there's a daughter, or biti tirasheni, or let's say he says my daughter should inherit me, but makom sheyesh ben, in a situation where there's a son, lo amar klum, he has not said anything. Habas bein habanos u ben bein habanim, but if there's a daughter among daughters, or if there's a son among sons, imamar yirash kol nechasav, if he says this daughter or this son should inherit all of his property, devar of kayam, and then his words are effective. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, because Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says, imamar al misha roy liyarsha, if a person says about somebody who is fit to inherit him, devar of kayamin, so then his words will be effective, and again that inheritance will be fulfilled in a situation of bas bein habanos or ben bein habanim. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda says that Shmuel says halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. The halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. V'chein Amar Rava, and similarly Rava says halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. The halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Amar Rava says, my time made Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. What is the reason of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka? Amar Kratz, because the pasuk says v'haya b'yom hanchilo as banav. It says that he's going to give the inheritance to his sons, and the idea is haTorah nosna rishus la'av. The Torah gives permission to the father lahanchil l'chol misha yirtzeh, to bequeath to whomever he wants. Amar le Abaye, Abaye says, Hami lo yuchal levaker nafka. Can't we learn that out from the pasuk of lo yuchal levaker? And the Rashbam explains, Mi lo yuchal levaker nafka, Tahachi mashma, that pasuk implies as follows: Bechora lo yuchal haver mi bechora lahanchil leacherim. The rights of the firstborn you can't transfer from the bechor to somebody else. Avol shar nechasa, but the other property below chelik bechora, not including the portion of the bechora, yachal lahanchil echad mi banav, that he already could bequeath to one of his sons. And the Gemara continues, Hahumi boile, that pasuk of lo yuchal levaker, that's needed l'chidetanya for what is taught in the following brisa. Abba Chanan Omar Mishum Rabbi Eliezer. Abba Chanan says in the name of Rabbi Eliezer, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Lamed Amid Beis.